Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Common Man's Compass with David
and Justin. This is a great podcast, guys. It's a podcast navigating life, faith, and everything in between. A conversation where anything goes. You never know what we're going to talk about. There's no telling. But we always try to keep God in it and keep God involved.
And we're glad you're here. What's going on, everybody? This is going to be an interesting podcast today. We are going to do a deep dive on the Justin, aka the Honey Badger.
Woohoo!
I'm glad y'all are here. We thought this would be fun, that we would do a little interview, and then probably next week maybe do an interview with me, just to see where our head's at, where we're at, what we're doing.
Yeah, get a background on people.
So I think it's only right to talk about the origin of how our deadly alliance began.
I love that.
So it was, I believe, 2008.
It was before that because I graduated in 08, so it's further back than that.
So then, 2006.
Probably.
It was when I got out of the military. I got out of the Air Force, fresh back. My mother was working with your mom, and they cooked up this thing that you were a troubled kid and you needed a mentor. And,
Yeah.
And
Which I don't know about troubled, but I was in trouble a lot.
Right.
I was a real bad kid. Not anything to be proud of. I look back now being a dad, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like,
oh, yeah.
I couldn't imagine my daughter doing a fraction of the BS that I did. Oh my goodness.
Right.
Anyways.
And so they said, oh, here we are. We have a soldier.
And I was, in 2016, I was in between, depending upon the month, I was somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 16 years old.
And I think the first time we hung out, I never been a mentor. I don't think I should have been a mentor. But I quickly learned that your mother was very much like my mother. And I was like, so you just need to find outlets. That's what you need. And then we quickly went from mentorship to friendship.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think it was when I moved back from Vernon is when we became like good friends.
Yeah. Is because we were running around together and hanging out a lot. No, it was even, I would have to say before that, because when you moved to Vernon, you were with Shelly, and we were close before that, even because you were running around with me and my cousins and all my friends.
Oh yeah.
So I would have to say, I don't know. I'd have to. It's been so many years ago. We have to dig way back.
Oh yeah.
So, I got out of high school, and I started running around with all kinds of questionable, stupid people. And then fast forward, and we'll deep dive into that stuff in a little bit. But fast forward, I'll say to age 19, we wound up living together for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And then I wound up moving in with a girlfriend, and we hung out quite a lot after that. But that's because you were going to party with the same people I was partying with. It was before I found God.
Right.
And then some time went on. You met Shelly. Y'all got together, and y'all lived in that little apartment. Looked like a duplex.
Yeah.
Y'all lived there for a while, and then y'all ended up moving to Vernon.
That's right.
Yeah, and then when you came back, when you were in Vernon, we kind of lost touch for a little bit. I mean, we still talked, but we just didn't hang because you were in Vernon.
I checked out. I just was like...
Yeah, and then you moved back, and we got super close again, and been super close ever since.
And that's when the alliance kicked in.
Yeah.
But, so... Where did the honey badger get its story?
That I owe to my wife. when we first started dating, she started, and I, when we first started dating, she realized very quickly, she already knew me before we ever got together, and she knew a lot about me, and she'd been around me a bit, but I guess she didn't really know me until we really started dating. And we'd been dating for about 4 or 5 months, and I was pretty rowdy. And she knew I was rowdy and I could be pretty, rough, but she didn't know how rough, And I don't mean rough towards her. I love my wife. I don't believe in that crud, hitting women or none of. I didn't do nothing like that.
Right.
But I was just a tough guy. I was a real tough guy, real rough.
You were feral.
Yeah, I was pretty mean.
Yeah.
You knew me. I was pretty mean. And so
you were that guy that most people blocked on the other side of the street when you came by.
Right, yeah, if you really knew who I was, but I mean, and a big part of that was just kind of who I started running around with, because that's not who people didn't look at me like that when I was in school,
Right.
But once I got out and I got out of high school, and I became a different person, and the people I was running around with, and my hobbies, and what I was doing, and how mean I became. Because you start running around with certain people, you have to be mean. That's what you have to be. Because, it's just the environment you've put yourself in. But my wife just kind of realized who she was with. And she'd seen me, for lack of a better term, more than once, get rowdy and flat get down.
Right.
Because I was, you just think, well, this is the option. Violence is the best option. It's not the option. You shouldn't. Yes, it is sometimes. I feel like that's a terrible way to say that, but there are times when I feel like violence is an option. If you're protecting your family, violence is an option all day.
Right.
I will, without a second's thought, snatch somebody up to protect my daughter. If we're in a grocery store and some dude walks up and tries to grab my daughter and take off with her, I'm going to remove his teeth with force.
Oh, yeah. We're going to make an example.
Yeah. So I feel like violence is an answer at certain points. But at the time, it wasn't really always the answer. And she got to see that a fair bit. But on the other side, she also saw that soft side of me. And so she started calling me her honey badger. And at first I took it as a whatever, ha ha ha. And then I got thinking about it one day and I was like, I know what a honey badger is. And I asked her, I said, why do you call me honey badger? And she said, because you're so sweet and soft and gooey on the inside and you're so cute and cuddly and I love you. But you are mean and you fear nothing and no one. Right. And I was like, well, it's just, I don't know,
See, I think of you as a honey badger because you can take a bunch. You can take a hit and just keep going like it was nothing.
You've seen it.
Right.
A few times.
I'll sleep it off in a minute. It's like, man, that's going to hurt. And you're like, I got it.
Yeah.
All right. So to start off my questions, I figure I hit you with some light questions.
Okay.
I'm going to set the scene. You're in prison, death row, final meal. What would it be?
Wait, I'm in prison on death row, my final meal?
Yes.
Man, that's a hard one. Because it's hard for me because I don't have a whole lot of favorites of stuff.
Right.
It's hard for me to pick. Some people say I'm picky. Some people say I'm easy. I don't know how you want to word that. I'm like a goat, though, so I'll eat just about anything. So I don't know if you call me picky. But for favorites, man, it'd have to be some mac and cheese. Some good mac and cheese, man. I love mac and cheese.
Just a pot of mac and cheese.
Just a pot of mac and cheese, dude. I love macaroni and cheese. Or some good raviolis. And I don't mean homemade raviolis. Homemade raviolis, I know everybody's going to say, they're the best. No, I'm a poor kid. Give me some Chef Boyardee, bro. Give me one of those too.
There's some guy sitting next to you and his last meal is like a steak with some lobster. And you're like, yeah, give me the SpaghettiOs.
He's like, what are you doing?
All right. So since you're a mechanic, you've been a mechanic for a long time, what would you say is your top engine?
What do you mean top? You mean favorite or what do you mean by top?
Yeah, your top favorite, either to work on or your favorite one that just in general, that's the best engine.
I think as far as best, cheapest, easiest to work on easiest to make power with and cheapest to make power with dollar per horsepower, you got to go with the LS. And it's the LS that's before all the active fuel management stuff. The active fuel management stuff was a terrible decision. It eats lifters and knocks lobes off cams. You have brand new pickups that were coming out. They'd end up 60,000 miles, camshaft failure, and they're rebuilding the top end on them. You can do a delete on them, and then they're just fine to last you forever. But it sucks that you have to do that. But they're super easy to work on. They're super cheap. They're roller motors, so they'll last you forever. It's just a really good motor, and you can put boost to them. And they have so many different combinations. The factory intakes on them, although they're cheap plastic, flow so good. It's crazy how good those factory intakes flow on them. They're just really good motors, and there's a lot you can do with them. And you can use them for pulling, you can use them for fuel economy, you can use them for making tremendous power and winning races. You can do a lot with them, and it won't break the bank. Oddly enough, just on the factory motor, without changing anything, say you wanted to have a hot rod, take somebody that's got a dyno and some tuning capabilities and have them change a few things. You can up the shift pressure. You can change the governor. A lot of people say, "I removed the governor." That's in the computer. You're not removing that. You can change it to higher speeds, but that's what you got.
So what does the governor do?
So the governor cuts fuel and spark to slow you down. Okay. And so if you change your shift points and you up your shift pressure, you change your rev limiter and you change your governor, just by doing that and a couple other things, dude, you wouldn't know any better. You'd think you had a race car, because it would be just nuts. And you would also want to take away a lot of torque management, but you don't want to take away too much torque management because you'll end up ruining things.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the transmission's only going to take so much abuse. but it's literally they're I'm going to say detuned from the factory. They don't want you to hurt yourself or destroy the motor. And so they set it up so it'll last you a long time. It'll do what you need to do, and it'll be fine. Those motors will do a lot more than people think they will.
So what got you into mechanic work and working on vehicles?
I've always liked cars ever since I was a kid. I loved cars. I loved trucks. I loved motorcycles. If it had a motor and wheels, I wanted to drive it. And I wanted to go fast, and I wanted to work on them. And I just knew that I'm not rich now. I ain't ever going to be rich. And if I want to learn how to do this stuff and have fun with it, I need to learn how to work on it. And it really intrigued me. And it just step by step, I started learning things. A lot of it started out as trial and error. And then I surrounded myself with people that's what they did. And I learned a lot from a lot of these people. And I still learning. There's so many new things coming out about cars. And different cars and different stuff for cars and different upgrades and different things you can do that you're never going to know it all. And even at that, there's even old stuff that I'm still learning about today. Apparently, for certain proportioning valves, if you end up with a brake fluid leak, like say in the rear, it will automatically shut fluid flow off to the back brakes. Or say if it was a front brake, so do it to the front brakes. You got to have a special tool to stop that proportioning valve from moving one way or the other when you bleed those brakes. Or you're going to be spending a little time with a little bitty pick trying to move that sucker back and cussing the whole way.
And see, I've lost all track of working on vehicles because I just call you.
Right, yeah. That's what most people do. Most people I know just go, you know what, I'm just going to call Justin.
I mean, that is one thing that I can say about your behavior and your character is that anytime my wife can call and be like, I have this weird sound. You're like, hey, give me 5-10 minutes. I'll be there and I'll check it out.
Well, I appreciate that.
So have you, what was your favorite job that you had? Do you have a favorite job?
No, I can't really say I have a favorite job. I've done a bunch of crazy things for a living. I could go down the list. I've done some cool stuff. I'm currently learning to do body work. I've never done body work. That's something I've always stayed away from because it's like an art. But I finally decided, you know what, I'm gonna learn to do body work. So I have a really cool guy, owns a shop. He owns a restoration shop. So I'm not learning to do body work on, your grandma's car that got a fender bender. I'm learning to do body work on expensive.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like the gym.
No,
Wrong body.
Wrong body. Yeah, no. I'm. If that gives you any inkling of David's lack of knowledge of cars. But anyways, I'm learning to do body work on like hot rods and old school stuff. Like here recently, I've been working on a 1957 Chevrolet panel wagon. Like I'm learning on cool stuff, which is crazy because that is the job where everybody's like, you're getting to work on what? That's the dream job. And it really is. I get to do all kinds of things with them. It's a restoration shop. But I've done all kinds of things for a living. I've drove truck. I've been a mechanic. I've trained horses. I've done construction. I even owned a construction business for a little bit. I just got tired of running a business and shut it down. It's hard work running a business.
Right.
A lot of people, and it wasn't like a big business. People hear that and they're like, man, he shut it. It was super small. There was like the most people I ever had working at one time, including myself, was like 3. I never did it big. I did it for 2.5 years and I just got tired of it. It's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of work.
It's all fun until you're actually the boss.
Yes. That's exactly the truth. And so I tell you what, man, it's interesting. I've done a lot of cool things in my life. Driving truck was interesting to say I got to do. That was fun. I did work for a company for a very, very little bit. I got to help go to rock quarries, and I was taking explosives to rock quarries, hauling them in and putting them in the ground, and then the blaster would blow it up, so you'd get to see big explosions. That was pretty cool. That was fun. Long hours, but it was fun. I've done lots of different things, man.
So has there been a job that you've always wanted to do, but you just haven't had the opportunity?
Oh, yeah, race cars for a living.
I go fast.
Yeah. What is it? What does he say? I don't know what to do with my hands. The race, we went real fast, did real good, car performed real good. Team did a good job. That's such a funny movie. I'm sorry.
You know what's funny is I know nothing about vehicles or performance or anything, but I'm a NASCAR fan. I love it.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to watch it in forever because I just don't have time. But all right, so back to the questions. If you could have a superpower, I'm going to give you one of 3.
Okay.
And you have to pick from those 3.
Okay.
You can't make your own or mix match.
Dang it.
Do you want A, to read everyone's mind, be able to, Professor X, read everyone's mind? B, talk to animals and understand animals? My mouth's mumbling. Or would you want to fly?
I'd pick fly because I feel like the other 2 would be way overwhelming.
Right.
I could only imagine my dog. Throw the ball, throw the ball, throw the ball, throw the ball. Come on, throw the ball, throw the ball, throw the ball. We coming inside, we going inside. We going for a walk. Can we go for a ride? I don't want to hear that. And then to hear people's thoughts. Number 1.
Give me the ball. Give me the ball. Give me the ball.
Right? Yeah. No, number 1. I want to clarify. I am not at all comparing myself to God. But I don't want to hear people's thoughts. I could only imagine.
Oh yeah.
Like.
That's a migraine.
Yeah.
Just thinking about
like I immediately think of that movie. Is it Bruce Almighty?
Yes.
Yeah. No way. I don't want to deal with what God hears every day.
Right.
I'm all right. So I think I would have to pick fly. That would be fun. I'd have a blast. I'd probably get in trouble for flying over restricted airspace or something, but
I don't know which one I would pick. I know it wouldn't be flying because I'm afraid of heights.
oh, I'm not.
That would be horrible.
Maybe for you.
They would call me the Screecher because I'd just be screeching.
Just
What was that? And for the next question, we're going to get a little deeper.
okay.
So, when did you, because I know that you have a checkered past, you have a historical run. when was it that the light bulb switched that, like, hey, I need to grow up a little, I need to start reaching for God? When did that happen?
Well, so I will say, I'll start off by saying I do have a checkered past. I don't have a criminal history. I didn't go to jail for anything.
Right.
But I dang sure was I was partying and running around and doing all kinds of dumb stuff, man. And, you know, I come from that, I don't want to say the era, but, like, when I was growing up, and the people I was around, if you were a bad dude, you know, and you were doing bad things, you were cool. That meant you were a man, and that's not what makes a man. And I didn't know that. I didn't really, and I don't blame any of my life on this, but I didn't really have a good father figure growing up, you know. My dad passed away when I was 7 years old. And past that, I just didn't have one. And
Right.
so I started out looking for a father figure, and I didn't realize that's what I was looking for. I was hanging around with people that were way older than me, and they were bad people too. It wasn't good people. I mean, these are you know, these are people that were, you know, some of them 4 or 5 years older than me, some of them even older, and they're all dumb, bad people, you know.
Right.
They're just, every one of them wasn't good folk I was running around with, and some of them would make jokes and be like, "Ha, you're just looking for that father figure in your life, ha ha ha," and I would get mad about it. And now looking back, I'm like, no, that's exactly what I was doing. I just didn't realize it.
Right. I didn't want to accept it, or, you know.
Yeah. I just didn't. It never entered my mind. You know, you're at that age. I was just looking for an example and someone to idolize and be like, and so I looked for it in all the wrong places instead of looking for God, because you know that's what I should have been idolizing, and I wasn't. And so as time went on, you know, you continue just, you know, being this bad person, hardening your heart, and I wound up realizing one day that, I was an adult. I was a young adult, but I was an adult. I was probably 22, maybe if I'm lucky. I was that old. I think I was even younger than that, but I want to say 22. I just started realizing, man, I'm a piece of crap.
Right.
I'm not like things I was doing with my life. I mean, I had a job, but I wasn't a good person. And a good person being a good person doesn't get you into heaven. Works alone will not get you into heaven. However, faith without works is dead. The only way to the Father is through the Son. And if I wouldn't have realized that, I'd have no idea who I'd be or where I'd be today. I might actually have gotten some legal trouble. I might be in prison. You know, who knows what I would have done. But I had a job. I had cool cars, but I was just, you know, I partied up every day possible. Party, run around with these rough people and do crazy dumb things. Quit my job because I felt like it, and then start another one, you know, because you can't go without money.
Right. You got to eat.
Yeah. Well, then I started trying to turn my life around, and not even biblically. I just started trying to change and stop doing certain things to be a better person. And I started doing that, started changing things about my life. And then I came to another realization that one day I'm going to die. And even though I was still living my life like I was fearless and, you know, doing terrible, crazy things, you know, not afraid of nothing, I know that's stupid. That's a contradiction of terms, but I would do these terrible, dangerous things, not caring about the consequences, but then still looking over later when I was by myself and going, I don't want to die one day. You know, I don't want to not exist. And then I started, you know, realizing that everything does point towards God. I did my own looking into it, my own homework, and everything points towards God. And I don't mean God like in the general term of a God. No, the God. The biblically correct Jesus Christ God And I started trying to change my life. I don't know. You start being very self-aware of who you are and what you are and what you're
I think
doing.
at a certain age, we all get to that point where, am I on the right path? You get that self-doubt. I think that just comes with as we get older.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. I was, and you were around me for some of the real bad stuff. You knew how crazy my life got.
Oh yeah.
I was nuts and stupid, but it was just nothing for me to just disappear. But I started trying to change. I started trying to follow God. I didn't start trying to really seek after God though until after I got married. So I wound up starting to straighten my life out a bit before me and my wife got together. And if that tells any of our viewers, listeners, whatever you want to call yourselves, how rough I was, I started straightening my life out and had done a pretty good job of straightening it prior to getting with her, and I was still so like nuts, and I don't want to say nuts. I wasn't crazy like a nut house nut, but I was still just this mean dude still at that point. If that gives you any idea of what I was coming from. And so and to earn the nickname Honey Badger, from my wife, which was an endearing name, I get it, but there was a reason she picked that. And I didn't tell her, I didn't influence that on purpose of any way, I just what she came up with, and I get it. She's got some stories she could tell you. I know you've got some stories,
right?
But I don't want to get into any of that. But I wound up I start straightening my life out. I'm still being me and partying, but I'm not doing quite as bad as I was, and I'm doing better, and I'm still pretty mean by this point, but I'm only mean if I need to be, but other than that, I'm just having a good time, and I'm not going out. When I say mean, folks, I'm not going out and fighting people every chance I get. I just didn't put up with nothing. And even now, I don't put up with nothing, but I handle it differently, I'm going to stand up for myself, and sometimes you just need to let things go. You don't have to face everything that comes at you like that. If someone's going to say something about you and talk crap about you, I mean, if it's to your face, all right, let them know. Hey, man, I ain't going to put up with that. You better, chill out. We can get along. But if it's behind your back, they were obviously too scared to say it to your face. Why are you going looking for them? You know what I mean? There's no point.
And see, that's the testimony of you now than you 10 years ago.
Right.
Because 10 years ago, somebody was to talk smack to you in your face. You wouldn't say anything. You would just handle it.
Yeah.
And not saying that you were, like, I'm not trying to paint you as this Billy bad guy.
No.
But you were just this...
I've been beat up a bunch of times.
You had an aura about you that just... was a little unsettling sometimes.
Yeah,
you could tell that you were definitely in the wrong spot.
Right.
And it is awesome being your friend, seeing the progression that you got a little good, and then you kind of slid back, and then it's like, but you're on fire. The past 5 years, it's a whole different transformation. It's really cool to watch. To be like, you are the person now that I knew you were when you were a kid.
Right.
And it's really cool that it's like I saw the potential of what Justin could be.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw it or you just thought it was a pipe dream. But now it's like, yeah, there he goes. It's really cool.
Man, I tell you, well, I went, me and the wife we got together, and I was still really rough. And we'd been married for probably 4 years before I started seeking after God. And I started seeking after God, and we started going to a church, and I started getting heavily involved in the church. And I don't want to get into what happened, but I can tell you my entire world fell apart. It was like having my feet swept out from under me. The whole world got crushed. And instead of doing what I needed to do stay on the right path and follow after God, I fell back into making some bad self-destructive decisions. And God looked over one day, I think. I mean, I don't want to speak for God. Let me start with that. I don't want to speak for God. I don't want to get to heaven and him be like, by the way. But I feel like God looked over one day and said, you need to quit acting like a child. You know, you got hurt and life sucks. You need to stand up and move forward. And he put things and obstacles in my path that gave me no option. And so I did. And so I do have to say my walk with God probably started, I'm going to say, 8 or 9 years ago. But after about the first 4 years of that 8 or 9 years, I put it on pause for like a year. And I not only paused, I started just sliding backwards. But then, you know, God put obstacles in my life that forced me to change my life and change who I am. And I did. I worked really hard. I sold just about everything I owned. I quit hanging around a lot of people. I started just, I don't know, when God put those obstacles in my way and gave me no option, I don't know, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. This is the direction you have to go. You don't have a choice. You don't get to be a wimp, because that's what wimping out is. When you backslide into old ways, you know, and I didn't go all the way back, but I started stepping pretty far. And when you start doing that, you're wimping out.
Right.
You're wimping out. Instead of standing up like a man and saying, "Hey, all right, I'm gonna lean on you, God. You got this." I wimped out. I chickened out. As mean as I have been in my life, that I was a wimp. I was a chicken. That's not what a man does. And so God put those obstacles in my way. I had to stand up. I took care of it. With God, I moved mountains, and I made life happen. And you know, my world got put back together piece by piece. I think certain things happen for a reason. You know, and I now have a little girl. You know, I'm a homeowner. I'm doing really well for myself, I think. And God just provides. And God taught me a lot of hard lessons during that. Like one of them, which is a struggle I've always had. It is hard for me to say no to $1. Like, if there's a chance for me to go do some work and make some money, I'm gonna go do it.
Right.
Like, because I'm a provider. You know, that's what I'm supposed to do. And I've always been that way my whole life. Even when I was running around and partying and acting stupid. Like, got to make your money. Well, God put me in a position where I didn't know where the money was coming from, and I had to have it. And we were struggling, and the money showed up. God gave me opportunities, and I started realizing all of these moments in my life where I've, for lack of a better phrase, worshipped money and put money first was wrong. I was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. Money does matter, but not like that.
Right.
And any of those opportunities where I did get a chance to make money and it helped me out, you know, especially in those hard times, that was God. That was not me. That was not, hey, this worked out, I made this work. No, God made that work. And that was, there's so many hard lessons I learned. And so now...
But they're good lessons.
Yeah.
I mean, hard, but it's like looking back, it's like, man, it just shows how much God loves you, because before your walk with God, you did whatever you wanted with no conscience, with no consequences.
Pretty much.
And then
Yeah.
once you got in with God, he's like, no, I'm not letting you. I understand you're angry. I understand you're going through this, but I'm not letting you out of my sight.
Right.
You know, and I think that's just a wonderful testament of how much God loves you, that he'll let you wander a little bit, but you're not going to get too far from him without him going, okay,
Yeah.
lessons now.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely, man. Well, that's like being in bands. You know, I'm a musician, and I had to learn the hard way that, you know, there's not enough alcohol and loud music in the world to shut up God.
You have to tell the story of when you were I believe you were playing
At Los Tres?
and you were talking to the guy about God right in the middle of the bar.
Oh yeah, man. I was trying to walk this line, and I was trying to figure out. I thought you can totally be in a secular band, play secular music, go to all these bars, and still follow God. And drink in these bars and act a fool. And I'm not saying being a Christian you can't drink, but I am saying there's a line.
Right.
There's definitely a line.
And when you're dancing on it.
Yeah. And so I was kind of lying to myself trying to flirt with this line. And I end up in a bar, and I get off stage, and I get off stage, and I go, and I get down, and of course everybody's like, oh, y'all are doing great, and I'm just a drummer in this band, and this guy comes up to me, and we get talking, and even though I'm still being stupid and trying to lie to myself, saying, you could flirt with this line, God put someone in my path in the middle of a bar that needed prayer, and I prayed with him in the middle of a bar. And a big part of that is God is my new favorite thing. I say new, he's been my favorite thing for quite a while now. Like, if you're around me, we're going to talk about Jesus.
Right.
And I don't care how you feel about that. I'm an unapologetic follower of Christ. I'm a citizen of the kingdom of heaven, buddy. Like, if you're around me, we're going to talk about God. And that happened, and then I'll kind of give a backstory to the alcohol and loud music to shut out God. That same band I was in, I don't have a single problem with any of my band members, but I'm not in that band anymore. That same band, I left that band at the last show. I'd already been feeling like, man, I shouldn't be doing this. I kept feeling God pushing me, going, hey, man, tap me on the shoulder. Hey, you're messing up. Like, yeah, you're doing all this other stuff, but look where you're at right now. Look what you're doing. Is that glorifying me? Because everything we do is supposed to glorify God. And I was like, well, I kept riding that line, and one day we ended up in this one bar, and I set up the drums, and the whole time I'm there showed up, I got everything set up. The whole time I feel like I don't need to be here. I feel like I just need to run as fast as I can out of this place. I just need to leave, but I didn't, because you don't leave your band like that. So I got on the stage, and I felt like I didn't belong. Not just out of pocket for those musicians out there that understand what being in the pocket means. I just didn't feel like I needed to be there. I didn't feel comfortable. I was so uncomfortable I almost couldn't play. And I was like, we played the first song, and I felt that way, and I have a mic next to me. And I hollered at my wife, and I said, bring me 2 Jack on the Rocks. And for those of you that don't know what that is a glass with whiskey and ice cubes, and that's it.
Right.
And it's usually a double shot. If your bartender's generous, it might be a triple. Well, she brings those 2 glasses over there, and I slammed both of them right there in front of her, and I handed them back to her, said, bring me 2 more. And she brought me 2 more, and I slammed both of those, and then I set them down, and we played the rest of the show, and the whole time I felt like God is just screaming at me, you get out of here. You need to get out. You don't need to be here. The show ended. I immediately got off stage, and I walked up to my wife, and I said, we got to get out of here. We got to go. And she was like, everything okay? I said, no, I need to leave. I'm done. And she was like, you're done? And I said, I'm done. I don't want to be in a band anymore. I literally just drank way more alcohol than I should be, in order to just get through that show. That's how uncomfortable. I need to leave. God doesn't, And that's what it boiled down to, And it wasn't that I don't have an alcohol problem, but I was certainly trying to rely on that to shut God up. Turns out that doesn't work.
So what you're saying is God did a reversal. He changed it to water.
Right? Yeah. God was like, you can drink all you want. You're still gonna hear my voice.
Right.
And so it was just, I don't know. I felt so uncomfortable there, and so I did. I left. I left. The wife drove us home. Because I had, drank an excessive amount very quickly. So the wife drove us home, and the next day, talked to my band members, and I let them know, hey, I'm out. And I told them why, and they were cool about it. but I was just like, I can't do this.
Right.
Can't continue doing that. That's just not going to work for me, you know. And so I made a decision, and I've stuck to it. I will not be in another band unless it is a Christian band. I still play music. I play drums at our church. And I love playing music.
And you're learning the guitar now?
I'm trying to teach myself the guitar. It's going about as good as you think.
Right.
I ain't no guitarist, but I'm trying. I'm giving it a shot. I can throw a G and a C and a D down if you ask me to, but yeah, I don't know, man. I still love music. These are hard lessons. Every day that you are alive, there is still time left in your race, and your race is never over. God is always going to teach you new things. It never fails. You think, man, all right, I'm doing really good. You know, I've been reading my Bible every day, and I've been doing this, and I've been doing that. I think I'm, which works won't get you there. But, focusing on God, I'm focusing on God. I'm trying to do right. And then God looks over and goes, actually, you need to change that too. You want to look like you're following me. You need to change that. Because we're supposed to be setting examples for people, man. How does it look if I go talking to you about Jesus and I've, 3 sheets to the wind and got a beer in my hand? That don't work out.
Right.
That don't check out. Something's wrong.
Well, you don't want to be a stumbling block for anybody.
Right, absolutely.
And so my next question, speaking of that, I got 2 questions, 2 final questions.
Okay.
And these ones are the hard ones. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's hear it.
Okay. So, what does it mean, in your words, to be a Christ-following father and husband? What does it mean being a leader as a father, and where do you get direction as a father?
When you say, what do you mean? Are you saying, like, what does it take to do that? Like, what do I envision that being?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna answer this in 2 parts. Say the first question again, because that was a whole lot all at once.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
I did a word salad.
Yeah.
So basically, in your own words, what does it mean to be a Christ-following leader of a family, as a father and as a husband?
I think it is important, as we were talking a minute ago about setting examples. I think it's super important to, first off, in a sense of your spirituality and your walk with Christ, you need to focus on yours. If you focus on yours and you're doing a good job at that, and you're really working hard at that, that's going to bleed to your wife. That's going to bleed to your kids. My kid is 5 years old, and she knows who Jesus is. I wouldn't say she understands all of it. She's 5.
Right.
But she knows who Jesus is. If I give my daughter that guitar and let her pretend she's playing music because she likes playing with it, she's always, every time I do that, she's making up a song, and it's, I love Jesus. To hear my 5-year-old say that, I immediately think, I must be doing something right,
Right.
I don't claim I'm the best dad in the world, but I think I'm doing a pretty good job. I think it's important to set good examples. I think it's important to fellowship with your family, lead them in good directions, and be a good spiritual leader, be a good father, and be a good husband. Continue to date your wife. Continue to tell your wife she's pretty. Make sure, just as your wife is submitting to you, that you submit to her. If you have a little girl, like I have a little girl, we go on daddy-daughter dates, and I teach her what it's like to be treated like a young lady. We may go to the movies together, and I hold her hand because she's 5.
Right.
But I open the door for her, and we go in there, and we'll get some popcorn, and we'll go sit down together. We'll watch a movie. We'll have a good time. And those are also memories that she's gonna grow up, and she's gonna go, man, I had some really good times with my dad, and I remember doing this with my dad. And also one day, I'm hoping she meets some wonderful little boy, And she gets it in her head, well, you don't treat me as good as my daddy did, so
Right.
you know. And she finds a good one that way. You know, it's if I don't set a good example for my daughter, as a man, I mean that'll bleed into her adulthood. I really think that's super important, and you should talk about God with your kids, and you should talk about God with your wife, and you and your wife should be a team. You should focus on a common goal to be closer to Christ. And as I said, I mean, if you're doing that, your kid's gonna follow. They haven't got much of a choice. I mean, they're along for the ride.
Oh yeah.
So
I always say you're the bar, you know,
Right.
with your kid, how they receive love, how they give love, how they handle situations that they don't like.
yeah,
Like you're the bar. I mean, you could go off and yell and scream, but that's showing them that's the bar. That's
Right.
the threshold. That's the normal.
yeah,
But
and
if
you don't do that,
right, and you show them the respect, and you show this is how you treat women. This is how you treat your friends. This is how you treat your wife.
Yeah, because they see all that, you know, like my daughter, she like if she gets in trouble for something, we have discussions about it. I mean, and she gets in trouble, she gets in trouble. But like I help to make sure she understands, hey, this is what you did wrong. But on the same note, if she does something good, hey man, did a good job, you know, and I reward good behavior. Structure is really like I would say structure is really consequence and reward. And so if you don't inform your child, that does not mean that you need to jump all over them. But if you don't inform your child, hey baby girl, this is bad choices. We're making bad choices right now. She may not know. She's 5. But if you do let her know, she'll know. She'll understand that next time.
It's also
If an
that
hour
you're-
later she does something really good and really cool, I'm gonna let her know too. Hey man, you did a really good job. Thank you. You know, we're supposed to do that.
and seeing you're doing it right by starting when she's young, because now it will be easier when she gets older that
Yeah.
she knows that this is acceptable behavior. This isn't acceptable behavior, and that she has a relationship with God.
Yeah.
Like you said, she doesn't understand all about God, but she does know who Jesus is.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that little girl loves Jesus. You know,
Right, yeah.
and it's awesome to watch our kids and see. You know, when the kid's like, oh, you know what I learned in Sunday school, and it's like clicking, and it really is. It's a cool thing to see your kids searching God and learning
Yeah.
all about Him. So, are you ready for the final question?
Let's hear the final
It's-
question.
It's a hard one.
It's a doozy.
This one is going to take brain power. Where do you want this podcast to go? Where do you want it to reach? Or like, what is your vision, should I say, of this podcast?
Like how big it'll get, or who it will reach out to.
Neither. What is your expectation of what comes out of this podcast?
I 100% expect it to reach people, and teach people a little bit about God, a little bit understanding about life. I don't expect it to get crazy. I don't. If this turned into something huge, awesome. I doubt it. If it doesn't,
right.
who cares? It's fun. I'm enjoying myself. I think it's really good. As we said, setting examples, man. I would like, maybe someone's going to hear something in one of our stories or something about that's going on, and they're going to be able to relate to that. And then they're going to hear that we put some God in it and be able to take that somewhere, you know, be able to do something with it. Planting a seed, throwing a rock in their shoe. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's really, really kind of what I'm thinking. I got all kinds of stories. I could go on for days about crazy, just stupid things. But
Right.
I've lived a pretty in the years that I have currently lived, I have done a lot and had a lot of fun, done a lot of crazy things, got some good times and bad times, but it all ends with God. That's where it all leads to.
Right.
And if you can't be self-aware enough to realize that compared to Jesus, we are garbage. What are you doing?
Right.
You know, you will never be good enough. That's not possible. But if we seek after Jesus and we follow Jesus, you know, we're doing all right. And I think
life actually gets, to me, life gets a little bit easier following God and having a plan and having a.
Well, I don't think it does at first. I think.
No.
Yeah, I think because you got to look over. You got to say, here's how I see this. I say, when you're not following God, okay. What reason does the devil have to bother you if you're already on his team? I hate to say that like that. And if somebody disagrees with that, please feel free to say what you want. Jump in. We'll talk about it. But when you start rooting for the right team, you jump on God's side. Oh yeah, you're gonna get messed with, and it's and your life may fall apart. You know, and as much as it pains me to say this, and God will talk to me about that when I get there, and maybe I'm wrong, but when I started to seek after God and then my life fell apart, I felt like I failed a test. I feel like I failed a test. And I don't want to say God tests people. I don't want to say that, but I don't know if he does or not. That's a conversation for God, but that's what it made me feel like.
Right.
And it certainly, when you really start seeking after God, there's a really good chance for the next, especially when you commit your life to God, there's a good chance for the next good bit. You're going to be dealing with a lot of headache. There's going to be a lot of things. It's going to feel like everything in the world is jumping on you. And after a while, it does get easier. But following God isn't going to be easy. Sin's fun. It's supposed to die to the flesh, man. And it isn't what I would say the easiest thing in the world, but it does get easier. And with God in your life, everything is better. You got someone to lean on. God will take care of you, man. So it does get easy. Life is easier with God in it. But it does take work. You know, I can't say that it's something that, you know, is going to be easy. It's, you know, if you're, let's say you're an adulterer, and it's so hard to get away from being an adulterer. I can't do it. It's hard, you know, and then, and you're trying to follow God. Like that's a struggle, I'm sure, for some people. I mean, there's so many things, you know. If someone was on drugs, that's an addiction. That's going to be real hard to get off of. And you can, but to seek after God, you got to put that down.
Right.
You got to put God first.
Well, before we get out of here, I forgot we have some messages.
Okay.
That we would really, really and truly love it to hear from people, like what different podcast ideas that you have, or if there's anything that we said that we might have misspoke, or we said something wrong, or there's something that you disagree with, please shout out at us at the Common Man's Compass at Gmail. We're also on Facebook
and Spotify.
If
you're listening to us, you're probably on Spotify.
Right.
I don't know why I said that, but that's all right.
Well, Justin, do you want to pray us out?
Absolutely. Lord, thank you for giving us this day. Thank you for bringing us together today and letting us have so much fun. And appreciate you letting us record this podcast and try to glorify your name and just enjoy life, Lord, and try to do everything we can to move closer to you, God. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.